welcome to my own worst enemy. Unboxing time yet again. This time it is Bayonets and Tomahawks, the French and Indian War, published by GMT, and the game designer is Marc Rodrigue. Before I actually start the unboxing, I will say that right now the preliminary plans, nothing concrete exactly yet, but I plan to be at Origins June 8th through 12th of 2022, and I will be running this. I believe there will be 3 sessions of this game, and I will be running those sessions. So if you have any interest in playing Bayonets and Tomahawks at Origins, please sign up for those events when they become available. If they become available, because like I said, this is not a guarantee quite yet, but it's pretty likely that I will be running this at Origins. I'm really hoping to be at minimum at Origins this year, since I missed it last year and the year before. So if you are able to make it, be sure to look for the Armchair Dragoons booth. I will be in there throughout the day and fairly easy to find. And if you're concerned about my teaching abilities, fear not. I have confused the likes of Ardwolf's Lair and the Player's Aid, so you are sure to be in good company. I hope to see you there. So, with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the box. It is a fairly heavy box, so there must be quite a bit of content in here, perhaps, or maybe it's just because it's all crammed into a smaller 2-inch box and not a 3-inch box. We will set this to the side just for a second. So there are cards, so this is not a purely card-driven game. It kind of is, but I guess card-assisted is what you hear nowadays. You do have these special dice for combat, so you do not use cards to resolve combat, but you will be using these special dice, these D6 they look like. So let's go ahead and open those up real quick here and take a look. So when you get into combat, you will roll these, and depending on what comes up will determine, whether or not you hit, if you even can hit a particular type of unit. There's some flags, which we'll see in a second, which I think kind of change your combat modifiers a little bit. I have not played this game. I don't know much about it, so I'm just kind of going on what I've read on the internet. So bear with me. I'll definitely have this down by the time Origins rolls around, I hope. And we do have these cards. So each power in the game will have cards, and let's see if I can crack one of these open. I have the French deck in my hand. So there's the French, the British, and of course the Indian nations. So the French are blue, of course the British are red, and the Indian nations will be green. And I believe in the game that the French player will control the blue and the green deck. And so these cards, and I will get a little closer to the camera. I think the way the cards work anyway, is the bar will tell you which units you can activate. So this would mean I could activate a light unit or a regular army unit. The little anchor would mean I can move ships or maybe embark units. And then there's a little a dice indicator on the bottom of the card, which I think is used for initiative in this game. And you can see that there are different types of activations that you can have. And then there's some of these cards have event text or actions that you can take along with your regular actions. So like I said, each power will have access to these cards. And I think at most you'll have 2 cards at any given time as you're playing through this. So we'll set those aside. We get Ziploc bags. I don't know if it looks like, and I don't know if there's a packing divider thing in here or not, but it looks like that you cannot get a counter tray in here, so there are Ziploc bags. And I guess this is a dice bag. This reminds me of 1775, where you throw the dice in the bag and randomly pull them out. I don't know. Maybe that's what that is, or maybe it's just a bag to hold the dice. Interesting. All right. And we have the rules of play. So it's not a huge rule book. It is printed on matte paper, which is it's typical GMT. It's nice print. It's colorful, easy to read. Not a lot of rules here. I think this will be fairly easy to learn and hopefully fairly easy to teach. And we also have, which feels a little bit thicker than the rule book, is the French and Indian War Playbook. And so this will have well, there's an example of play, which we always love to see. So you have your examples of play, you have a detailed action round example, raid examples. That's the kind of stuff I love to see, and GMT is good about providing that with their games. Another reason I love GMT games so much. It's a strategy primer, so that's kind of neat. Card clarifications, and then you get into the scenarios. There are, it looks like 4 total scenarios in this, and there is a campaign, so there is that. And easily forgotten rules on the back, so that's probably useful and interesting to refer to as you play. There's the counter manifest, which we will look at the counter sheets in just a second. We'll get that out of the way. And what do we have here? Oh boy, so we got a stack of cards, it looks like. The Indian setup, and so this is, if you look at the setup card, and again, I'll come a little closer to the camera. If you look at the upper left-hand corner, it has this yellow box that says all scenarios. So these cards will tell you which scenario to use for the setup. And the back of that, of course, is blank. This is, and I'll show you an example, this is the French setup for scenario number 1. And it tells you how to set up scenario number 1. And I think scenario number 1 is a very short scenario. I think you're playing through 1 complete turn, if I'm not mistaken. And if I do run this at Origins, it's probably the scenario that we will choose, because I think it is maybe a 2-hour, 3-hour scenario at the most. So there's a lot of these scenario cards, scenario setup cards. I see 1 and 3. So that is useful. And then there are 2 player aid cards. Now these are nice. It's a player aid booklet again. So we have all of the information you would need while you were playing. I believe it is all here. Your action round steps, battle steps, everything you need to play the game, hopefully, is represented on the player aid card. Love to see the good player aid cards. Again, GMT is good about providing, for the most part, good player aid cards. So let's get that out of the way. And we hit the counters. Not a lot of counters. So here we can see this is the British counters. The square counters represent your regular army. So these would be your typical redcoats. The square counters that are different in color here, they're brown. This is more like militia, your standing militia. Not as good as the regular army. And then you have some circle counters here representing forts and artillery. The triangle markers, this would be light units. So you have, your lighter militia and your Indian Nation units are represented there. And here we have more markers, looks like the French. There are naval units in the game, so you will be moving troops by sea, along the coast at least. And then there's some just markers, some game informational markers that will come out during play. So we will definitely see that. And it looks like these are really nice counters. It's on the thick gray core counter sheets, solid. They're not flimsy at all. And I think, let's see how easy they are to punch. Yeah, they're fairly easy to punch. So I don't think it's going to be a problem punching these. And the square counters look, well, at least on the larger ones, look pre-rounded. The smaller ones, let me see if I can get one of these out of here. Let's get a spent out of here. No, they're not really pre-rounded, so I may have to do some minor clipping on this one, but it won't be long because the triangles and the largers and the circles are all not in need of a haircut, so that's good. And then finally, we have the map. So it's in a nice Ziploc bag. I don't know that I'll keep it in the Ziploc bag because I don't know how that will react over time as it sits in storage on the shelf somewhere. I don't know if the plastic would somehow ruin the board or not. I don't know. A little paranoid about that. So let's bring out the map, and I'll see if I can get it all on camera here. It is a mounted map, so there is that. If you don't like mounted maps, look away. I happen to like the mounted maps. I think it makes it easier for me to, once they settle down anyway, it makes it easier for me to record anyway. We're looking at it from the point of view of the French. So the game will tell you that when you play this, to turn it this way actually, and have the French player sit on this side and the British player to sit on the other side. And actually, I probably have to film it that way too. I don't think I can get it this way on the all of it on the camera anyway. So when I do the playthrough of this game, this is the way you'll see it. Actually, you might even see it this way. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind to decide which side looks better. Let me know if you want to see the French on this side or the British on this side when I do the playthrough. So the map, you're looking at it, the way it starts off, the red areas, of course, are the British. The gray areas on this end would be the French. And then you just have this lighter green area, of course, would be just wilderness areas. You've got some Indian nations. You have the Iroquois and the Cherokee represented by these green areas. There are what they call, let's see, highways as well. I don't like that term in this game. Whenever I play a game like this, I as much as I can do, I try to immerse myself in what's going on. And when you call that a highway, I picture, you know, a paved road with the stripies down the center line and everything. And that kind of breaks immersion for me. Major road, I think, might have been a better name for that. That's how I refer to them, these major roads that you can move your troops along. You also have paths, and the Indians have paths, and certain of your units will be able to move along these paths and not others. Up here you have your victory point track, and this will seesaw back and forth between the British and the French as the game goes along. The track below it, I believe, is it says battle. So I believe this is where you would have your modifications to combat, and you would track that. And then, of course, you have some losses being held in boxes over here. A little movement reference chart, terrain charts, it looks like. Some reminders about who can move along those paths. And you have the circles. This is area. It is a point-to-point map is what I'm trying to say. So there are different points, different types of points on the map. This one would be a victory location because it has the gold circle around it, as would these smaller ones. Same thing over here with the British. You have these gold circle victory point locations. Over here you have your year and your round. And like I said, if I run this at Origins, and even if I do a video playthrough on the channel here, I'll probably just do scenario 1, which is basically 1755, and you would go through one complete round to get through that. So that is it, a quick look at Bayonets and Tomahawks. This one's been getting a lot of positive reviews on the internet and from wargamers, so I'm excited to try this. It is a 2-player game. It did say that there were, where did the bottom of this box go? It did say that it's 2 players. You can team play up to 4, and I imagine that's where you would have somebody controlling the Indians, and so you'd have, you know, somebody controlling your regular forces and somebody controlling the Indian forces, or maybe even the light militia forces. And then it says solitaire guidelines, and let's go back to the rule book for just a second because I don't remember seeing solitaire. I didn't really look for it though, but I don't remember seeing solitaire rules per se. Just glancing through here, I don't know what that would mean. Let's see. And actually, now that I think about it, it's probably going to be in the playbook, since I didn't really see it in the rule book, right? So let's take a look at the table of contents here real quick. Yes, there it is on page 44. So it's pointers for solitaire. Now this is a solitaire game. I'm pretty sure they rated it at a medium high for solitaire. And they tell you use the summary procedure for the non-player faction. The rest is up to you. So basically, I think what they're telling you is just play either side to the best of your ability, but kind of follow these little points, tips they give you for playing the non-player faction. I don't know if I'll do that or just play both sides best I can, which I like to do anyway. So there you go. That's it. I just wanted to do an unboxing of this because, like I said, the plan as it stands now is I will be running this game at Origins June 8th through June the 12th. So if you have any plans on going to Origins, please drop by, say hello. If you can, grab a session of this, and if you'd like to try it, and we'll run through it and see how it plays. Like I said, getting good reviews, and it looks like a really interesting, fun little game. Not a huge game to play. I think the play time on this is, they said 2 hours per year, so there's 5 years. If you play the full campaign, you're going to be playing this for, I guess, about 10 hours if you believe that. We will certainly only be doing one round, 1 year, one round, scenario number 1, I think it is. So that's it. As always, thank you for watching, and if you like what I do, please like this video. That's important. Subscribe, and check out the Patreon page. That's the biggest way to support the channel. And I will see you back here next time.